I proceed, all protocols observed. I would also like to acknowledge the next president in waiting for Ghana, Ms. Bashira Kamal, and a leading media personnel from Ghana, Ms. Shamina Muslim. For the survivor who chooses to testify, it is clear. His duty is to bear witness for the dead and for the living. He has no right to deprive future generations of a past that belongs to our collective memory. To forget would be not only dangerous, but offensive. To forget the dead would be akin to killing them a second time. Elie Wiesel just quoted. I would like to add to his quote and say, to forget survivors would be akin to abusing them a second time. To the survivor, counting the economic cost of violence against women and girls is a matter of survival for us. Hope in a better present and future. It's working to build a better world, and it's about inclusion. Counting the cost makes economic and social sense and provides data for sustainable and responsive social protection policies. Today I speak as a thriving survivor of severe childhood abuses, sexual assault, and marital rape and abuse. Daily I continue to bear the direct and indirect cost of violence which was perpetrated against me. Unfortunately, women and girls who survive violence continue to bear the brunt of the cost, and according to Wobbly 2009, the state bears as much as 6 times the cost. Today I also speak for the many women and girls I have the privilege to communicate with. Strong women who stand as thriving survivors. The names many will never know. The faces many will never see. And the impact and consequences of violence against us continue to send an adverse rippling economic and social consequences through every institution in Trinidad and Tobago. Violence has touched every aspect of my life, and it continues to cost me and my family in ways only a survivor can comprehend. Childhood abuse set me on a path of self-destruction. Seriously. I endured suicide ideation, planning, and failed attempts. Engaged in risky and uninformed behaviors. Sexual assault and marital abuse delayed my academic pursuits, reduced my labor participation. Thus, I experienced loss of income, injury, and depression. Lodging, transportation, and homelessness. Many times when someone is a victim, the perpetrator remains in the house. The victim has to leave. Homelessness, relocation. As we say in Trinidad, begging or lodging by somebody. And HBC, even though they say that they give priority to victims, it never happens. Many times we overlook the secondary and tertiary victims and the cost to them. Children who witness violence and whose lives are disrupted by the same. My story is not an isolated one, but it's unique to me. In counting the economic costs, we ought to look at prioritizing the cost. Do we look at direct or indirect costs or both? Counting the costs cannot be done in silos. It cannot be isolated to survivors alone. It must be a national process. How much does violence against women cost the national economy? What is the cost of gross domestic product that violence against women costs the country as a whole? These ought to be looked at in terms of the prevalence of violence against women. 13 studies, very quickly closing here, 13 studies ranging from 2009 to 2017, which looked at the cost of violence against women, showed staggering figures. 2012, cost to Canada, US $7.3 billion. 2017, cost to the United States of America, US $273.4 billion. 2014, cost to the European Union, US $352.2 billion. 2016, cost to Australia, US $19.2 billion. And hopefully, we would soon find out the cost to Trinidad and Tobago. The cost of violence against women and girls are comparable to state budgets for essential services. In counting the cost of violence against women and girls, we need to look at direct costs to survivors and their families. Homelessness and relocation, as I said before, delayed academic advancement, relocation due to fleeing violence, medical and health support, legal advice and action, counseling, food and transportation, direct costs to the state, government agencies who provide support services, education and prevention awareness, lost productivity on national GDP due to absenteeism by survivors and perpetrators, cost to law enforcement when it comes to investigating cases, cost to the judiciary, new cases filed, and court processes of cases. And in closing, my friends, what is the cost to civil society organizations providing support services, prevention campaigns, their responses to violence against women and girls, cost to advocates for creating implementation of laws and policies? What is the cost to the private sector? And we can go on and on. As I stated initially, while we seek to measure the economic cost, we ought to prioritize the areas, engage in a national process, including collaborating with stakeholders to create substantive, sustainable, responsive, and tangible policies and systems which are data-driven. One thing is certain: we need to take urgent measures to comprehensively address the issues of violence against women and girls. Violence against women and girls has a phenomenal social and economic cost, contributes to poverty among women and families. It impacts their academic and economic empowerment, and it's a major barrier to sustainable development. The progress of any country is seen in the way it treats its women and girls. When one woman is violated, all women are in jeopardy. And when one woman is left behind, the progress of all women is hindered. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very thoughtful.